All right, so coming out of the weekend, the question is, what's next for Mikey Garcia? Now, that's really interesting. Mikey's kind of an interesting case here, man. So first of all, let me just go ahead and say, I really like Mikey Garcia. Been a fan of his for a lot of years. For a few different reasons. I really like the way he carries himself. Seems like a pretty humble guy, really hardworking. And I also, that's just his character, his personality, how he does things. But I also really like his fight style, right? Like, if you look at it, one of the things that I would say about Mikey Garcia is he doesn't do anything great. He does everything really, really good. No flaws, no weak points. He comes in, you can tell the man dedicated himself to his craft and works hard. Right, and it doesn't surprise me that he comes from a fighting family. The most recent being his older brother, Robert Garcia, who's his trainer. Like, he fought pro for a while, had a pretty good career. I think he won a world title, if I remember correctly. But so Mikey Garcia comes off this fight, right? Just fought Jessie Vargas a couple days ago. This is Monday morning, March 2nd. So he just fought Jessie Vargas a couple days ago, got the win. Now, before we can determine his future, let's just take a look at how that fight went. Now, in my opinion, and I hate to say this, I didn't have him winning that fight. I didn't, okay? He did a lot of things good, but I did not have him winning that fight. I had it as a draw, okay? And I'll tell you why. He got the knockdown. Yeah, he gets an extra point for that. But I gave Vargas 7 rounds. I gave him 1 through 4, and I believe 9, 11, and 12. If I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and watch, but I remember that was the thought that I had. That was the thought I had at the time, okay? And he won that fight, or he didn't win it. It was actually, like I said, I actually had it as a draw. But it was close. But the reason I had him doing so well in that fight and winning those rounds, it played out in the way that I thought it would. And I apologize for not making a video predicting this beforehand, because it did play out exactly the way I thought it would, in the sense that Vargas is the bigger, stronger man. He's got a high work rate, and he knows how to use his jab. Like, that right there is going to set the stage for a lot, man. A lot. And then on top of it, Mikey doesn't mind laying back, fighting off the back foot to a degree, playing the role of the counterpuncher. Like, he's not going to go out there and just start to instigate a bunch of action and be super aggressive and really try to shake something loose and make it happen, okay? The man's not Julio Cesar Chavez by any stretch of the imagination in the way that he fights, okay? So I figured that was going to set the stage poorly for him. And if you look, in a lot of ways, that's a very basic general framework of how Errol Spence beat him. Errol Spence was the bigger guy. He was the stronger guy. He stayed active. Good jab, keeping him on the end. Okay, now Jessie Vargas is no Errol Spence. We all know that. But my point is, he fought him in the same way from a general, basic template standpoint, right? And Mikey's proven like he's got trouble with that. He's got trouble when he's the smaller guy. When he's got trouble when he's not the stronger guy. And the guy that he's fighting has a really good jab, because Mikey needs to be able to close the distance, right? His bread and butter is as basic as it gets. 1-2. Okay? Now, I don't say basic in the sense of being negative about it or talking bad about it, right? Sometimes the most simple things are the most dominant. You just learn to perfect them, right? Think about Bruce Lee. I don't fear the man who practiced 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who practiced 1 kick 1,000 times. Okay? And it speaks to mastery of something. It speaks to your ability to go out and master something and then use that to dominate. Okay, and that's Mikey Garcia all day long, right? It's one of the reasons why he's great. But it's very hard for him to get off that basic against a certain type of fighter. And styles make fights. That's why he had so much trouble. That's why he had so much trouble with Vargas. That's why he completely lost to Errol Spence. So where does that put him now, right now, today? Okay, because let's be perfectly honest with each other. In my mind, Jessie Vargas is a gatekeeper, okay? And again, I don't say that negatively. I don't say that disrespectfully to talk bad about the man. I mean, everybody's got a role. Everybody's got where they're at. And people can slide between different roles. But if you look at prospect, contender, world champion, journeyman, gatekeeper, all of these different roles that people kind of play at different points in their career, right now, Jessie Vargas is a gatekeeper. Now, what do I mean by gatekeeper? I mean the only people that can beat him are the best in the world. That's it. He actually guards the gate or controls the gate for world champions. He separates the world champions from everybody else. Okay, if you're just a contender, You have to be at the right point in your career to be able to beat him. You catch him too early, you ain't going to get him. You catch him when you're at the top and you actually prove not just be a contender, but a man who's going to be a world champion. You got to get through a guy like Jessie Vargas, okay? And that's not easy for anybody, okay? But the only people that can do it are the people at the very top. So you just had Mikey Garcia getting, in my opinion, what should have been a draw with a gatekeeper. That pretty much places him at gatekeeper status, which is about where I think of him at this point, at this weight class, at this point in time. Doesn't have to be. It's not like he's towards the end of his career or anything like that. Not even past his physical prime. And his prime, even when his physical prime goes down a little bit due to his fighting style, he'll still be all right because he's not so dependent on athletic ability and stuff like that. But at 147 pounds, he's a gatekeeper, man. He's a gatekeeper. Okay. Now, let me also say one other thing. When I refer to a world champion, I think of it in the very old school sense of the word. Before you had these divisions that were fractured, before you had all these multiple belts and all these multiple sanctioned bodies, which if you look into the history of it, it was all done about money. It was all done for greed and power and influence and things like that, right? Corrupting forces, corrupting factors. In my opinion, it's really simple, right? There's one man who's the top in every division. That's it. Sometimes we have a debate, right? And for example, right now, in my opinion, at 147 pounds, you've got a debate on who is the man. I don't care who holds the belts. I'm talking about who is the man. And people generally know who that is, right? There's usually generally a consensus amongst fight fans in every division who the man is. Every now and then you get a debate, right? Right now, in 147, I believe we have a debate. And in my opinion, that debate is between two people. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. That's it, man. I don't think anybody else, you can make the argument that they're the man at 147. Now, one of the little wild card factors here that we got to keep in mind going forward is we don't know how Errol Spence is going to look when he comes back off of that car crash. Like, I saw the pictures from that car crash, that accident afterwards, and that was nasty, right? Like, that didn't look good. He came out of it, and everyone's like, you know, him included, oh, I feel real good. I feel physically. I had to recuperate a little bit, but it's going to be no big deal. We'll see. We'll see. It doesn't take much to slip off. When you're at the top of Mount Everest, it doesn't take much to slip off and come just a little bit down, right? Just a few things. Like, for all we know, he tweaked his ankle, he tweaked his knee, he hurt his shoulder, twisted his back. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that could go wrong that could contribute to a poor training camp, or could, and then he gets past it, or it could be something that ends up being bigger. We'll have to see, right? But in my mind, that's the very top of the heap at 147. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Either one of those men, you can make an argument that they're going to win fighting each other. But that's it. I don't think anybody else beats either one of those guys. Okay, and that includes Mikey Garcia. Now, if we were talking about Mikey at 140 or 135 pounds, way different. Way different. Okay, my complete conversation changes up at that point. But we're not. This is his second fight in a row at 147. Okay? And I'll tell you this. Nobody can ever call Mikey scared. Nobody can ever say he ducks fights. The man jumped for the opportunity of greatness to go from 135 up to 147 and fight Spence at 147. He didn't take someone who was undersized. He didn't take somebody past the best of his career. He didn't take somebody trying to catch somebody who was coming up who might have a big name or might fight. The man went after Errol Spence. Like, congratulations to him. He took a shot at greatness. Didn't work out for him, but he took that shot. Man, and it was awesome. Didn't turn out, but he took that shot. You know, so at 147 right now, I don't know what he's going to do. Honestly, I would want him to move back down. You know, I think he can, but at the same time, he's been working, you know, he's been taking a lot of supplements. He's been trying to put on a lot of muscle. He spoke about it in the fight lead up to his Errol Spence fight. He spoke about how much more comfortable he felt now with the weight in the lead up to this, his second fight. So it seems like this is where he's going to campaign now. It seems like he's going to be at 147. And I think it's full of sharks. I think it's tough. I mean, you even got guys out there, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, like Manny Pacquiao. Dude, he's gonna have his hands full at 147. He's gonna have his hands full. I'm not sure that where he's gonna rank. Is he gonna be a top 10? Yeah, I believe he'd be a top 10. Top 5? I don't know. Top 5's got some killers in it. Top 1, top 2, I don't think that's in the realm of possibilities for Mikey Garcia at 147 pounds. I really don't. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It really is. Nevertheless, he walked away with the victory on Saturday. He fought a good fight. Love the way he landed that right hand to initially hurt Vargas, backed him up into the corner, landed another clean shot, dropped him. That was great. Couldn't get him out of there. But it was awesome. It was awesome. That should be another little telltale sign. That fight would have been at 135 pounds against a smaller 135 pound type contender. Mikey Garcia would have got him out of there. He's got a lot of knockouts on his record, and he's known for finishes. But they haven't been in the last few years, and they definitely haven't been against these last 2 fights against bigger guys. Right? So, and Jessie Vargas is tough. I don't mean to take anything from him, but I mean, that's the type of guy that Mikey Garcia was at 135. He got people out of there. And he couldn't do it at 147, even though Vargas was visibly hurt at some points in that fight, particularly his legs were kind of shook a little bit when he caught that shot. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm definitely fascinated going forward. Got to expect that he'll be catching a fight around maybe the late summer, fall type time frame. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows where he wants to go with it? It'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm a huge fan, but I just think it's the talent is a little deep, and guys are a little bit too big and too strong for him at this weight class. So, wish him the best going forward, though. I'll always tune into every one of his fights. Love watching him. Like I said, technically, the man has a great skill set, particularly the way he comes in and lands that 1-2. He closed the distances. He closed the distance. He can close the distance on it quick. Come right in, bang, and land that and really hurt guys. So, it'll be good to see. It'll be good to see.